Hi there, I'm Alice Bauman, Marketing Manager at Pick Protection, and today we are taking some time out to put some questions to our founder and CEO, Rebecca Pick, in honour of International Women's Day. Rebecca Pick started Pick Protection in 2015 while studying at Strathclyde University as a way to help ensure people's safety, women in particular, with a discrete GPS enabled attack alarm. Since then, the company has expanded into the lone worker protection market with a suite of products, including the PG Smart app and advanced features designed to keep lone workers protected on the job. So, welcome, Rebecca. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Um, so, let's just start off to see whether you've faced any challenges as a woman entering the security and tech industry, because obviously, Pick Protection is a blend of the two.
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting question, Alice. And I think if you'd have asked me this 10 years ago, my answer would probably be quite different. So I have to say, there's definitely been a lot of challenges entering this market, as probably any. You're a new entrant in the market, you've got to build credibility, you've got to get a great product. And their challenge is that no matter what gender you are, everybody will face that. And I think things have come on so much for women, especially in the last decade, that yes, there's been challenges, but there's none really that I could put down to my gender. Definitely security is a lot more male dominated than other industries, but actually, I think the people that have given me, the chances for success, given me encouragement, they've been men, they've been women in the security industry. And yeah, I can't say that gender has held me back at all.
That's great. And how do you think it is we can encourage women to become entrepreneurs if they've maybe got that perception that there are barriers that still exist?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I do think the more that we promote women in entrepreneurship, in tech, in security, and in these industries where they are predominantly more male dominated, I think definitely raising awareness that there are other people like you doing this. It just makes it become much more attainable. It feels like, if they can do it, I can do it. So definitely, I think we need to push on that and help promote and help support other women. And then a big thing is access to funding. And the last time I checked on a stat, I think it was that out of angel investors, so people that invest at really early stages when you're just starting a company, only 1 in 20 angel investors are female. So really, I think we need to start at that funding level to make sure that as you're starting a business, you've got access to funding. And there is a subconscious bias that people tend to invest in people similar to themselves. So if the investors are more male dominated, there is that um, it's not a 50-50 going into that playing field. So for me, I think if we can encourage more women that have been successful into that area of investment, that will help to give other females that are just starting in business that bit of a leg up.
Absolutely. And obviously, those women who are just starting in that business, they might be looking to you and seeing a fellow female entrepreneur, showing them how it's done. Um, did you have any inspiration in your career? Was there anyone that stood out for you who kind of inspired you to take these first steps?
Yeah, definitely. And it's not anybody famous, so nobody will know this person that I'm going to talk about. But what an inspirational lady she was. We shared an office in the Enterprise Hub where it was very early days, just starting to get going, and she was just this incredible lady, so phenomenally intelligent. She was a lecturer at the same time as she was starting this business idea, which is now doing incredibly well. So she worked so hard, full time, at the same time as trying to get this business up and running. She had a family that she kept going, looked after them so well, and she was just the nicest person too. She loved a bit of chit chat in the office. She always had time for everybody. And I think there is a bit of that sort of preconception that you can't have everything. She was just amazing. And she always looked so glamorous too. So she just had everything going for her. She was so brilliant. She worked so hard. She was so intelligent. And I just thought, if I can be like that, that's exactly who I want to be like.
Oh, she sounds like an excellent role model to have in those early stages. Did she give you any advice, or if not, what was the most important piece of advice you've been given that you could apply to starting your business?
The one piece of advice that I always come back to, and it was a mentor that gave me this advice, and he said, don't take the highs too high and don't take the lows too low. just try and be as level headed as you possibly can be. And I know the word resilience gets bounded about entrepreneurs. You've got to be resilient. And I think that really does boil down to the practical side of it, that you'll have massive ups, massive downs. So if you just try and smooth those out, so don't get carried away and you're caught up in all the excitement when it's going really well, because then it will go down. So you've just got to sort of smooth it out. So when you have a low, you don't take it as this is it, this is the end. If you balance that out, you think we will get through it, bad day, put it behind you. And then when you've got a good day, it makes up for it. But just try and be as level headed about it as you possibly can be. And I think that's a really good key to anybody starting out.
Absolutely. It's just preparing for those highs and lows that are inevitably going to follow from starting a business. Yeah, that's really good advice. And we talked about how we can encourage women to become entrepreneurs in the first place. Let's say that then they're now the leaders in these tech fields. What is the one thing do you think that we can do to support women as leaders and tech entrepreneurs once they're there?
Oh, that's a really tough question. I think for me, it's probably just not assuming that everybody thinks everything's going well and they're full of confidence. Like you can always make somebody, give somebody a compliment, and I'm sure it will always go down well. So sometimes you can be having a really bad day. And I know I've had a message where somebody's come and said, "Oh, I've just seen, your advert that went out, or that social media put, like, that looks great. Like, well done, you're doing really well." That kind of encouragement, it will never go amiss. You can always do that. And there's one quote that I'm not going to probably say it word for word, but it was about, that real queens fix each other's crowns, and like they don't tell anybody that they did it. And I just love that. I just feel like definitely women should always, whenever they see any opportunity, try and help another one, try and like uplift them. It doesn't cost you anything. Like that, I think just should be everybody's motto, to do that.
That's a lovely motto. I think we're definitely going to pull that one out and highlight it for everybody to take that on board for sure. What do you think will be the biggest challenge for the generation of women behind you?
Biggest challenge? Well, I think things are absolutely massively improving, and the challenges will get less and less with every generation. And already I can see a massive difference. Um, I think probably from that we are seeing a lot of positive discrimination, and I know people have got different views on that. So, having X amount of percentage should be female in senior management positions, that's definitely happening in companies across the world. So I think the biggest challenge that the next generation will have will be the accusation that they only got that job to hit that quota. I think that will be a challenge, and I think the only thing that these women can do to overcome that is just be absolutely amazing. So you can't question why they've got that role. They are clearly the best person for the job, the best person in the world to do that. So I think it really is just raising our level of performance so that, there's no question we are the best person to do what we're doing.
Yeah, I totally see that. We hear a lot about imposter syndrome, and you can see how that kind of positive discrimination might feed into that idea that, oh, I only got this because I'm fulfilling a quota. But yeah, if you kind of have total confidence in yourself going into those roles, then that should be hopefully less of an issue.
Definitely.
So it might feel like you were always destined to run Pick Protection, but was there something you did dream of doing when you were younger?
Oh, yeah, and I think I changed it about every week, but the probably longest running one was I wanted to be a forensic scientist after watching CSI. So I never really saw myself as you know starting a business, having a business, and maybe that does come down to that kind of confidence thing. Like I always loved business, but I never really thought I would be the person that would start a business. Um, but I had an idea that I loved, and just kind of working it through, and that's just kind of how it happened. So yeah, I think whatever anybody wants to do, as long as they love it, that's the best way forward. But I'm really glad now that I am not a forensic scientist.
Yeah. Well, I think you've just answered the next question of what career advice would you have for girls growing up today?
Yeah, that's another great question. For me, I think you've just got to do what you love, and don't limit your possibilities. And I've done a few STEM workshops, where it's, encouraging girls to look at science, maths, engineering, technology. And it is quite surprising that, before we go and do those workshops, they haven't heard of quite a lot of the jobs in those areas. So, as well as doing something that you'd love, I'd say just go out and explore, talk to as many people in as many different industries, doing, creative things, doing, office based, whatever it is, just make sure that you're so fully informed, all the options that are available to you.
Yeah, that's brilliant advice. That's great. Thanks so much, Rebecca. I think that there's so much that people listening can take away from that, and really appreciate you taking the time out to chat with us today.
Brilliant. Thank you, Alice. Thank you very much for that.